Hello, friends. We are back again. We have caught up. It took us about a year, I think, to read these 41 volumes. So this would be the last one for a little bit, at least until 42 is translated. I don't think it's released outside of Japan yet officially. So until then, this will be the last one for a little bit. Hopefully not too long because I want to read it. But anyway, Joe, will you start us off with an introduction?
I'm Joe, JCM Byrne. I write books and I publish a weekly free e-zine. 13 just came out, which is 13 more issues than I expected to manage. And I read Berserk before, but actually I read these 2 volumes like just a couple months ago for the first time, and I haven't reread them. So I guess we're all pretty much in the same boat now. None of us know what's coming really much further ahead, so no one's like, oh, wait till you get to this thing 10 volumes. Doesn't exist. Anyway, that's it. That's me.
Even Plainfield and Barsha.
Hi, I'm Varsha. I run the YouTube channel Reading by the Rainy Mountain. And yeah, I'm excited to have reached the finish and talk about it. It was both satisfying-ish, but kind of cliffhanger-y. The ending was a cliffhanger. It was. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. And Dan.
Yeah, and I'm Dan, and I'm pretty much in the same situation as Joe at this point. I think I've read this 41 one time, and who knows what comes after, pretty much.
So I guess we can start with volume 40, because we do get... I'm a little bit conflicted about getting Casca out of kind of bringing her back and going into her dream. There's a lot of buildup, and I like that it wasn't Guts swinging his sword to bring her back. It was something different, and it developed Fernie's and Shirky more, so they had some time to shine. But on the other hand, it felt a little fast after all this buildup for so long.
Yeah. But I mean, would you have wanted to go another 2 volumes of... Well, it depends what the rest of the story that's missing is, right? How much is... Maybe he was like, I don't know, I wasted too much time on the pirates. I need to get going here.
Maybe.
But, I mean, what else would you have liked to happen, sort of?
I don't know. Maybe a character should have died. I was hoping maybe one of the main crew would have died or would have been injured permanently. I don't know. Some kind of raising the stakes, and maybe some less phallic monsters.
As well, phallic
pretty
monsters.
On the nose. Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yes. Yeah. Would it have been cool if it was like, well, to get Casca back, you need to sacrifice someone else in your party, and Guts is like, oh shit. Maybe too dark.
Disciple Isidro, come here.
Yeah.
We need to talk.
Yes, and throw that little elf while we're at it. Shierka's elf. We'll give you one free with this guy.
Yeah, that would have been really dark. Maybe Guts knew all along he needed to sacrifice someone, so he brought along Isidro.
That's why he's been nice to people. He hasn't grown as a person. He's just, might need some sacrifices.
Yeah.
He's got a bad leg.
Maybe.
No.
Fix evil with evil.
I mean, it could happen. I don't know. I would be for it. It would be fun.
Yeah, and then someone... Isidro's parents, or I don't know, someone who cares about him, which is hard to conceive of, but will go on what quest of vengeance against Guts, and then we just create a whole chain. I read that story though.
But maybe maybe Guts does care for these people, because otherwise the sacrifice is not worth it. So, he made himself care for people so he could sacrifice them.
So then there's a recursive quest for vengeance.
Yeah, well, maybe there's no vengeance. It just is what it is,
mean, that's what Griffin did, right? In a sense. So he's just following in the footsteps.
I mean, it wasn't planned, though. He didn't plan to sacrifice people. Probably made it harder, I would assume.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
But yeah, no, it was pretty straightforward. I get not super straightforward, but kind of. Right?
I feel like the volume summary was kind of misleading in telling us what to expect from this, because it made out like she has some deep dark secret that the readers aren't aware of yet. Of course it's going to go to the eclipse. Of course that demon child is going to be part of whatever is haunting her. Mm, so anyway, so I expected more from their um what, adventure, no, that's not the right word. uh, Anyway, from their quest in the dream world, or more revelation, I mean. But that's just because of the way the summary was written. That's not the fault of the storyteller.
Yeah. There could have, or maybe there could have been some sort of puzzle they needed to figure out to, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just collecting things.
Yeah. They could, I mean, Shierka and Farnese laboringly found out what the readers already knew, which I guess is, and something like that happened after they got out of the dream too. I forget. Oh, about the child.
Yeah.
Okay, that one, it ended differently than what I expected. So yeah, that's cool. But the dream sequence, I thought there might have been more that's stopping her from talking, but we already knew that. So maybe it wasn't for the reader. Maybe it's so Shiarka and Farnese can find out just how haunted she's been. Maybe that was the purpose of that.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. We've seen it before, so it's nothing new. I guess the visuals were cool, but
and again, I think the summary set different expectations. I think just as a quest to go fix her by collecting nice happy memories and then like removing whatever's trapped in that eclipse thing, and I think that works. That worked for me. It was a good story. I enjoyed it. Might have been my favorite volume overall. No, that's not true. I've said that about several things and I didn't really mean it.
just say things.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'll blame it on the DST now.
Yeah.
So the black flying creature in Casca's dreams was Griffin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Like Hawk. Well, his head is the same shape as the helmet Griffith was wearing, and it's the same shape as his like transformed form head, right?
What do you guys think of the fact that dream dog Guts behave almost like you would expect real world Guts to behave? Like it almost felt like it's not a Guts projection in a dream, it is Guts himself. But do you think that's a nod to the fact that Casca has been noticing and this is the form it takes, like all the things that Guts does to protect her, and this is the form that it's taking, that she's just got a vague dreamy sense of it? Or do you think there's something more magical going on there with the Guts dog behaving very gutsy?
I don't know. It's probably just the way he sees him, and he sees him. Well, he knows him, so should be accurate in theory.
Yeah. But the berserker armor and stuff all happened while she's been mute.
Well, but she remembers that stuff. Like when she talks to Shirka and Farnese, right? She said, "Oh, thanks for taking care of me." It's like I was sort of seeing it from a distance or something, or right?
Yeah.
She still remembers it.
Yeah, she wasn't in a coma, right? She was like awake and watching, and she wasn't really responding intelligently, but someone was home, just not answering the door.
Makes
That's the
sense.
impression we're
Yeah.
getting. I would take it to be that rather than a magical thing.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm a bit unsure how it works with like I don't understand why like okay, they got all the different fragments of her psyche together.
Hmm.
I just don't understand what's that supposed to be in reality, sort of. You know, is there like an analog psychological thing which is supposed to represent,
Mm.
or you know, because she still does seem to have a trauma because every time she sees Guts, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I was having a hard time understanding what was actually happening.
Hmm. I wasn't sure either. So she sees Guts as her protector, right? Because he's the
Yes.
dog. She sees him as he's her protector. So that's why I was a little bit confused why she would have um these like I guess like a panic attack, or like she would break down when she saw Guts, but she still saw him as a protector in her dream. So I was a little bit confused on why seeing, or did I miss something? Because I would imagine if in her dream he was her protector, that she wouldn't, or was it just triggering memories for her? And now that she's awake,
the thing is, I think what Miura is going at this backwards, right? Like he's looking at how do I make this as difficult as possible for Guts, and the psychological sort of logic is the last thing he thinks about. Like he's not. She's almost being fridged. It's not really Casca's story. It doesn't make sense if you think about Casca too much.
hmm,
Um, fridge is not the right word, but her storyline is completely about serving what Guts' storyline. You know,
Mm.
she doesn't make sense. Nothing about what she does. Like this catatonic state is not similar to what people who have been traumatized go through. People who have been traumatized go through like terrible suffering, but you don't hear about this kind of reverting to a childlike state and having this set of things. Like that's not what happens. But the point is, it's what makes it painful for Guts. It's like,
hmm.
what would be the worst possible thing for this dude? Oh, I know, right? And if you think about it all from that perspective, it makes sense. But if you think about it from like what we know about psychology, it doesn't.
Hmm.
Mm.
That's my very uncharitable interpretation. And I think what happens is I was thinking about this dream thing is we get to this point, and I have a feeling Miura wanted something cool to happen to like wake her up, because waking her up is part of the end game. We want her to
Yeah.
be woken. We want her to sort of like still have these reactions even after, right? Like we want things to get more complicated after this. But I don't think he had a really good idea. Like he probably just waiting and like I'll think of something cool. Then you get to the volume and it's like, well, this is okay. Like it's an uninspired. Let's put the doll back together. She's been shattered, so let's put her back together piece by piece. Like it sounds like if you don't think about it too hard, it kind of makes sense. So I
Hmm.
just don't think this is a very inspired piece of the story. And it wasn't very long. At least he didn't torment us with 4 volumes of collecting little shards. Guts wasn't really in there. There's no sword fighting, so I was like, all right, they needed to do something.
I think it would have been more interesting if something had to be done outside of the dream, like the crew that wasn't in the dream state had to do something, had to participate somehow in the whole process, because they seem very. It seems just it was up to these two people to go into her dreams, and I get they had to get to the island to do it, but it just felt very kind of,
But
I
there
don't
would be
know.
some kind of side quest, right? There'd be some
Yeah.
item that they need to find in order to like complete the healing. Maybe like a rare flower whose you know the smell of it would finally wake her up. So they have to get the flower while they go in something like that. But Mura thankfully probably just didn't want to give us another pointless side quest because that's what it would have been.
Yeah.
If they put that
Well, they did have to right bring her to Alpha Island to be in that place, I guess, to go into her brain, right, and do some sort of ritual.
For 30
problem is, it's
volumes.
not it's sequential. It's not It's not a pen parallel. It would have been neat if they were doing something while they were in the dream state. They were also racing to get, like, if you wanted to make a tenser, more like impactful storyline, that would be the easy trick. It's always good when
Oh
it's
yeah,
happening at the same time, and you flash back and forth, and like, we have to get there before they are ready to wake her up, or and then
yeah.
they're inside. They're like, we have to make sure that they have the
Mm.
flower when we reach the end
Oh,
goal.
true, true.
Right? That's a very common like story. That's how I would write it, right? Like if I had, but I think it would have. I don't know that it would have fit. Like it would have felt hacked. It would have felt like,
Well, it could have been something like, to heal her, they need to remove some limiter or something in her brain, and that could cause like her whole like I don't know personality or brain to collapse, but they need to fix her before that happens. It could have been something like that, right? Like something was keeping at bay all the bad stuff, like it was keeping her in this childlike state because he was keeping everything back, and once you take off this barrier, then you need to fix it quickly, otherwise.
Yeah.
They could have done something like that.
yeah. But this just
Or they could have done something like it was not only psychological, it was also magical.
Mm.
Like what happened to her, I don't know. Maybe it would have been weird, but it could have been something like, I don't know, the demon sperm or something was like magical and it was like doing something, and right? Could have done something like that too.
yeah. No one's going to argue with magic demon sperm.
Yeah. Would have been reasonable.
That sounds like a band name. Now I wish I'd stuck to my drum playing.
Let me Google it. I don't know if I want to see what it's. No, it just brings up Trump stuff. So
Trump?
Yes,
Really?
yes, something about conspiracies and COVID, which maybe is the best thing I could have found googling this. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. That sounds the least traumatizing response you could possibly have done.
Yes.
I just think this was an uninspired piece of storytelling, which is fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't expect this reminds me of things that happen to me when I have an outline that sort of says, then they do something cool to beat this bad guy. And I'll literally I've told you guys this before. I'll put that in my own outlines, then I'll get to that chapter and I'll be like, shit, I never did come up with an idea for that. But I feel like this is what Miura did, because you don't plot out every scene 25 years in advance. I'm sure he had a rough idea of where he was going, but I'm sure he didn't have volume by volume or page by page plans in 1998. So he probably had some like, then they'll do some cool thing on the Elf. I'm sure as soon as he said Elf Island, he had some idea. They'll go to Elf Island and they'll get Casca's memories back. And he probably didn't fill it in until the last minute. When he got there, he's like, I didn't come up with anything so cool. So he probably doesn't want to do something that we've seen before. So I don't know. It was. But what do we think of? Remind me. How much do we see of how Casca interacts with Guts after her memories are returned? Because I have read the digital stuff after that. Do we see her talking to Guts or being around him?
Yeah.
So what do we think of this? We have her memories back, but as we've foretold several times, she still doesn't want to be your best friend. Did we like that? Not like that? Do we think it's a purpose?
It still feels like, what's the word I'm looking for? It feels like it is that way because it has been foretold to be that way. There's no particular reason. Like she goes back into the crazy, can't talk, oh my god, so much pain mode whenever she sees Guts. Like it's just triggering something. It's not because it's not necessarily what Skeletor said, right? It's not she might want something different from me. She's not having an argument with him or like it's not that they want different things in life. She just is physically unable to talk to him, which is feel like just serving the prophecy for the sake of serving and it's not a prophecy but just a possibility, like bringing that possibility to life, and in my opinion a not very convincing way.
But you kind of need it for the story, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you need like an intact Casca to sort of make us remember what Guts is pining for. and you can't have her just happily and him happily. You can't have him go off and happily open a yoga studio in Fantasia or whatever the city is, Falconia. That would feel unsatisfying somehow. Although hilarious, they just all get together with Griffith for tea every Tuesday, and
Apparently, they already have some version of that every full moon.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
I kind of feel like we couldn't have them have a reunion that was like like a happy reunion. It had to be something. There had to be something bad. They couldn't be just like, I'm glad you're back, and oh, like we're so happy, and like even just kind of easing into that. They just couldn't. It's like they just couldn't happen. Like it just couldn't happen that way, which I guess is kind of par for the course in Berserk.
If Guts gets too much of what he wants, then why would he go around being Berserk anymore? Right? You got to keep him angry for the sake of the storyline.
Still lots of things to be angry about.
Yeah, there's that. What?
So maybe I missed something, but at the end of the dream, they go and they find the last. They find the last fragment, and they find the baby. That's the last fragment, a monster, but it's just like a baby. I don't know why the final fragment has this form. So I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so it looks like they cast the baby into the eclipse. That whole section there,
maybe into eclipse.
This is the main. This is what broke Casca, the main cause, which is the eclipse, I'm guessing. But I didn't get how the baby played into that, because it ends up, and then it turns into her heart, or the final fragment is a heart. Then if we return this doll to the casket,
maybe the baby had something to do with it.
Well, he's there.
The reason why?
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I missed it, or I wasn't sure quite what happened there.
I don't think we know.
Well, that's her baby. They don't know that.
Right.
Because they've never seen it.
Well, she said she caught a glimpse of... Shirky did. She caught a glimpse of the baby. But... And then the baby just kind of disappears. I wasn't sure how the baby fit into that. But I don't know if I missed something.
Sure.
Yeah,
because we don't really know what's going on with the baby, right? Still.
Yeah. I was a bit confused by that section. I thought they were saying that the deformation of the baby is what broke her, but I think what you said makes more sense, that they're referring to the eclipse. Is the baby then the shape of the fragment? Is that what that is? And it turned into a heart?
The baby is the shape of the fragment of her memory of the rape. Which resulted in the baby.
True.
Right, so that kind of makes sense.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't completely not make sense, right? Like it's...
no.
It sort of does.
So it was just
God. If the shape wasn't the baby, just think what Miura would have made the shape. I don't need to see that on the page.
No.
So now we know that the kid who shows up during the full moon isn't the baby. Or well, I guess it could be, because it could be just the idea of the baby, so not the literal baby, right?
Well, the baby went into the egg to be reborn as Griffith. Or reborn somehow as part of Griffith, right? They put the baby in the egg when Griffith was reincarnated, and it somehow either became Griffith or attached to him or was transformed with him. There's a connection there that isn't fully clear. And then at the end we find that the Moonchild is Griffith, right? That's the end of 41. Right? The Moonchild is Griffith. So Griffith is their child, where their child becomes Griffith. It's like this non-linear time whole thing, where this new Griffith is
Yeah.
effectively their child, which is
Hmm.
weird and creepy, but sure. I mean that's what happens. Right? Moonchild is their baby, and it's Griffith, and it's their this thing. So somehow the baby.
But I thought it was implied that he's not always the Moonchild is not always Griffith. It seems like he'd take his place at specific times because like Griffith is like when he's in his chambers with the Queen, and then he looks at the moon or something. He's like, "Oh, like tonight is the night" or something.
But it's a form he takes.
Yes.
Okay.
But
you might be right, but my
I
interpretation
don't
is
know.
the form he takes. He doesn't just get replaced by some other being.
Okay.
He takes on the form of the Moonchild at certain times. He doesn't look like that most of the time. But like, I don't think we'd ever see Griffith and the Moonchild in the same place.
But I'm wondering if we've seen them in separate places. Like when we were seeing the Moonchild, was Griffith? Because looking at the panels, I thought that the Moonchild, like in this, before this happened, the Moonchild was with Guts and Casca.
Hmm.
And then when he disappears, he sort of transforms into the Moonchild. Like he sort of replaces him. But again, it's not explained then. But
Sure.
the way it's worded here made me think that it's not like a thing he does consciously, sort of. It just happens to him. But I don't know. I just sort of assumed.
Is he flying off into the night in that panel? The one where he's contemplating that soon
Looks
it's
like
tonight then and
Is
whatnot.
he?
Yeah, when he's looking
Maybe
at the
a
film.
gratuitous boob shot of Charlotte.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't look like him, though. It looks like some bedsheet.
Yeah. Did he just disappear from here and the bedsheet flew?
Well,
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
I thought it was like the bedsheet that's over him, you see. He's just like, whoosh.
That makes more sense.
I don't know. But, yeah. And I guess he's somehow also traveling. I guess he's traveling through the world tree, because that's what he does before. We have that whole, like, I don't know, dolmen or whatever passageway, right? But we also, if you also remember, when Guts was on the ship, we see the child walking along the trees of the world tree, right?
Oh.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Yes. Well, I don't know if it's a ellipse, but we see him walking along this astral path or something, which I assume was a branch of a world tree, now that it's been explained
Yeah.
with them traveling, right?
Like, I don't think we knew that at the time, but you're right.
Yeah. So maybe he like possesses the child or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's not clear. It's got something to do with that.
A lot of mystery there for sure. And it wasn't an obvious answer. I liked that. I liked that it surprised me. What I was getting slightly bored, I guess, as I was looking at Shiarka and Farnese with their theories about who this kid is and coming up with really wrong but sensible conclusions.
Do you think that the child is also somewhat like Guts and Casca's child? Because maybe she was already like pregnant when that happened.
I thought it was that. I mean, isn't that the whole thing, that it was their child that turned into a demon thing?
Okay, is it? Do we know that?
I think so.
Thought so.
Okay. Maybe I just missed that.
Yeah, I think that's why it protects Guts. Like, it protects Casca a lot more, but it does show up to protect Guts a few times. And I think Skeletor tells him explicitly
That's it?
yeah,
Okay.
when the kid dies, I think he tells Guts explicitly, if I remember correctly. But
Okay. Hmm. So when he's a child, he's the actual child that would have been, but then
hmm,
see, he can transform into Griffith sometimes.
yeah, or the other way around.
Hmm.
So I feel like the world tree is just ominous foreshadowing thing to tell us that the army is going to show up here, right? Griffith's army is going to show up here, and they'll be completely unprepared. And
Hmm.
I guess Griffith also explicitly knows where they are. Not that, I mean, maybe his purpose won't be to hurt Guts and Casca. It might be they want to, I forget their reason, but they wanted to kill, the same reason they wanted to kill Flora, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
They'd want to destroy the Elf Island, right? But I forget what the reason was. Oh, they make the world tree encroach less. And if they go away, then they can freely use the world tree to do whatever they want. Is that their goal?
Not very clear. Yeah, I'm not really
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I think in the last volume they explained why Guts would have wanted to kill Flora, but I forget the reason why. It had something to do with the world trees encroaching upon the world, if I remember correctly. But regardless,
Hmm.
he has motivation to destroy the Elf Island, and he knows where they
Mm-hmm.
are, what they're up to. Like, why did he change form if he stays that way until the end of Moonlight? Is he becoming more aware? Is that what's implied? Because he knew this time that a change is coming and he's going to have this nostalgic dream.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And why protect them at all either? I mean, or is it, or does he not have control when he's in the kid form?
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like he must be like possessing him or replacing
Yeah.
him or something. Because it doesn't feel like he's Griffith when he's in most other times, right?
Or at the very
I,
least, he's a very different aspect of Griffith,
True.
right? Like I don't know if it's a different, certainly a different side of him.
yeah.
Right? He barely remembers it. It feels like a dream when he wakes up. He doesn't quite understand what's happening. His instincts are different. Like the Moonchild is all about like spending time with Casca and Guts and having family time and protecting them, and that's certainly not Griffith's primary motivation during the day. The rest of the month.
Mm.
So yeah, I think it's a different aspect of his like character. The
Mm.
part that the maybe and oddly enough, it's a part that seems to have great affection for Casca and Guts. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Because he's trying to deny that he has feelings for people, that he still cares. Right. That was his whole thing when he first faced up with Guts like 15, 20 volumes ago. Maybe this is like the encapsulation of all those feelings. If that were it, right? Because the Moonchild has those feelings, right? You wonder if Griffith is either changing his mind about those feelings, or if he doesn't think they're a threat because they're part of the Moonchild and not his primary
Mm.
thing. Or you would think he would be hostile towards this manifestation because he said, "I can't have these touchy feely stuff," but he clearly does. When he's the Moonchild. So I don't. Now I'm confusing myself.
He seems very vulnerable when he tells them that when he wakes up from the dream, he's this sense of loneliness. So is that regret from him? And if so, then why is he doing the things he's doing?
Well, you can regret your bad choices and still take a sigh, drink, take a shot of scotch, and go about your conquering the world.
Okay,
You
I
can have
guess.
both.
Yeah, well, he's doing okay, I guess. Hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was hoping you guys would know because I was confused.
The stuff that he's doing is all that conference discussion. Was it uh I'm not saying this is how he wrote it, but I played Civ 5 briefly recently, so it felt like a summary of everything you could do there. In like what we'll fund an army, and then we'll use the army to expand, and then yeah, but it's also probably just basic empire building. But yeah, that was interesting. So once again, I think we are being given the is he really evil question, especially with the Moonchild avatar aspect of it thrown in. Um, but he's the one who's putting the monsters there that he now wants to expand everything to protect against. So, well, not putting there, but it was a result of his actions. But is that something he regrets? And does that give him any redemption if he does regret?
He seems at least to be. I don't know. I don't know if he's regretful.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just allowing himself the time to engage in sentiment now that he's got almost everything he wants.
Hmm.
It's like now I can indulge whatever because I've won. He practically has.
It doesn't feel like this is the end game of his plan, though.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
It's like he got something else in mind, I feel. I don't know what, though.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking about how, for me anyway, it kind of felt like maybe it was just my own expectations, knowing that we're almost caught up.
Mm-hmm.
But it did feel like we were kind of getting into the final act. We were kind of, things were starting to converge, and I felt like things were starting to kind of. But after their discussions about the nation and building an army, it does feel like there's a lot more. Like it almost feels like a middle point and not a final act. It feels like there's a lot more. There's a lot more story to go. I don't know. I know that
We'll find out.
They have an outline and they're following it, but it does feel like it just feel like a halfway point and not a. But I guess maybe hopefully we'll be alive to read it.
Yeah. No, I think I said last time that they said it was going to take at most another 5 years or something, which is still a long time. But I don't know. What did you think about that whole empire building part? It just felt very. I don't know. I've seen a lot in manga where they have this sort of administrative or thing where they're like, oh, I obviously do this and this and this because I know better than everyone else, and it's the obvious choice, right? And it's just, it feels very oversimplified, I guess, and very like, oh, obviously, why doesn't everyone do that? I guess it must be the protagonist is just so much smarter than everyone else. I don't know. It always felt to me a bit weird, a bit like wish fulfillment or whatever. Or like Varsha said, like just playing a game and people playing a game is like, oh, why didn't everyone do that, right? Seems so obvious. Why didn't people in history just do this? It's so obvious. Why didn't they just educate everyone, right?
I kind of took it as that they're following along with Griffin because they're all afraid of him. So that whatever he says, they'll agree with and they'll go with. Kind of no one will push back on him. Like, that's a great idea, Griffin. Let's do that. Like,
well, but after like the counselors talking by themselves, he says like, oh, they really believe now they're not doing it for selfish reasons. They're doing it for right. So it's like put as it's like a good thing. Like he's not like they all believe in his vision and they're all working towards a better humanity, I guess. right? Well, before they were, I don't know, ruled by corruption and their own selfish desires or something, right? He's bringing out the best out of them. That's how it's put. That's how it's depicted.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It seemed a little out of place. There's a lot of exposition in that section, and it seemed very the best way I can the kind of what I thought about it was like, when, for those of you who've seen Seinfeld, when Larry David left, things are just weird. Like after Larry David wasn't around, and it was just different. Like you just could feel it. Just felt off. This volume felt a little off. It just didn't felt different. The art felt different. The dialogue felt different. It just didn't. It was just different.
True. But I mean, it feels like very much like the trend of the time. I don't know if, like, Joe, you've read other mangas, but like a lot of, I get isekais are kind of like that a bit, with a lot of expositions and I don't know, someone that's, I don't know, like a carpenter goes to a different world and then he's using his carpenter knowledge to do things in this new world that they don't know. And then there's a bunch of exposition on how things are done. Or there's like a whole section of manga, I guess, which is, I don't know how you call them, informative mangas or something, where it's 50% or maybe 80% just people talking or explaining techniques. And then the rest is like story put next to it. I don't know. There's like a lot of them. So it just felt a bit to me like that.
Yeah, it was a lot of talking. Yeah.
But that kind of makes sense, right? This is Griffith's wish fulfillment. He's had this dream since he was young. True. I'm going to make an empire, and I'm going to rule it, and everyone's going to love me, and we're going to educate the people, and we're going to build this city, and the city's going to have these huge statues, and like this is almost like a kid playing with Legos, except this kid has like infinite power.
Yeah,
right.
I would just refer it to be like Steve said, that maybe they're like after they leave, they're like something showing, oh, they're just doing because they're afraid, or they still hate him and think, oh shit, we have to do it now. I have to cut funding from, I don't know, some other thing that I care about to,
But his whole dream is to not have them do it because they're afraid of him. He wants to be the worshipped prince.
Yeah, true.
Right. He wants. True. Yeah. And he's consistent. I mean, I've been saying that, and I still think it's why he needs Charlotte. It's a boy's fantasy of leadership. He's not living a mature, measured, but give and take, and you can't feed all the poor because you can't afford it. So you gotta, you can't give everyone all the health care because there aren't enough doctors. It's not. It's like an 8-year-old's vision of what the world should be like. If I was in charge, everyone would have plenty of food, playing with the light figures. If you think of it like that, it all kind of. And that's what he's got, right? That's this singular vision that he's been pursuing at any cost. And we can say that at any cost, and we know we're not exaggerating. And that's the beauty of the eclipse, right? When you say he's willing to do anything to make this come true, we're not lying. Like and if you look at the whole thing, as Griffith's story, it's sort of interesting in a different way. Right?
Yes,
he's managed it. Part of me thinks Miura is more interested in Griffith's story than in Guts' story at this point.
Yeah, it does seem...
Because Griffith's been doing a lot more, accomplishing a lot more. Guts is like, I'm coming along for the ride. Oh, we fixed Casca. It didn't really help. But he's not coming up with a lot of interesting ideas. Mostly he's just, come on, Guts, there's a bunch of things to slash. Oh, okay. And he comes out with a sword and he slashes them. He's not like making a lot of proactive anything. He's just sort of going along for the ride and hanging on.
I know this might be blasphemy for a lot of fans of the series, but is Guts really that interesting of a character? I mean, I think Griffin is more interesting as a character because of his motivations and the things he's done. He has different sides to him. I think Berserk or Guts is very kind of one note. I mean, that's he hasn't really been developed all that much. I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, we the Golden Age, we learn about his childhood, but really, I mean,
but Guts is like simple, and we all want to be simple. We don't want to be like Griffith. We don't want to be complicated and have all these different, aspects and feelings. We want to be driven, right? We want to overcome obstacles. So people, you're gonna imagine yourself as Guts, even though Griffith is probably a more nuanced character.
Well, you don't want your main character to be too new. Like, it's a typical thing in action stories where you want your audience to sort of identify with the hero. You don't make them too nuanced, because the more nuance you give them, the more obstacles there are to this identification process.
True.
Right? If I have this guy who's got this very nuanced appreciation or understanding of the world, and I don't share it, then I'm not going to find myself in his shoes very easily. It's the extreme example is like Twilight. Like, the main female in Twilight has like no personality at all, because the whole point is, you want to let every teenage girl imagine they're her. If she has defining characteristics, then a whole bunch of teenage girls can't imagine they're her anymore. I don't have that, so okay. So Guts is pretty straightforward, right? He went from angry to angry, but maybe having some friends, right, in the Golden Age arc, and then he just went back to just being angry, and then he went back to angry, but maybe there's room for some friends, and that's it. That's his entire personality development.
True, and everyone can identify with that.
Yeah, who can? Yeah. What reader hasn't been occasionally angry and then said, there's some worthwhile stuff anyway, and then been angry again?
Yeah. It's true. A lot of the time in these, in like wish fulfillment mangas or stories or whatever, you keep the protagonist as blank as possible. It's you don't give them any very specific hobbies or or the specific hobbies you give them is like, oh, they play video games. Literally everyone that reads manga fulfills that, right? Or they read manga. Well, I guess
you can give them a goal they really want to achieve. And then, but we can sort of imagine that we may have also a goal that we want to achieve. Like Naruto wants to be, the leader of the village, right? But we can all kind of empathize with having a goal, like I want to be in charge, even if it's not that specific a goal, So you can,
yeah. And there's literally a character design which is it's a bit funny. It's taken from sort of like hentai, which is like the guy with the hair that covers almost his whole face. You don't see his eyes, which is literally blank. Like, you can imagine whatever he looks like, because you can imagine your face or whatever. And that's literally because of that, because it makes it easier to put whatever you want into this character. Right? Or you have him, like, you don't see his eyes, it's like shaded or something. It's it's creeped into some mangas and stuff like that, the low quality ones. Let's say. Man, that might be it.
We do learn about Skeletor a little bit.
Yes. The most interesting part to me was when we see the vision of his eclipse. We see that the 5 hands or whatever, the hands of God or fingers of God, whatever it is, they're different than the current ones, apart from the brain guy. I don't know what it means, but it must mean something. Because I thought these were all aspects of they were eternal or something. But maybe they can be killed? Is that what happened?
And were there 5?
Yes, there were 5 of them.
5. By what we would have thought before, there should have only been 4, because Griffith wasn't one of them yet.
What?
And Griffith formed the thumb. Oh, formed the thumb.
Yeah, because like the 5 should be like the prophecy starts or something, right? Because the 5th one is special, if I remember correctly. I thought it was something like that. But I thought that maybe they had tried doing it with Skeletor, but Skeletor managed to kill like 4 of them, so they had to restart, and he was trying to kill the last one. That's what I thought. That's my wild theory.
That
I like
Skeletor killed people, or that they wanted Skeletor as the fifth god hand?
No, because they were I don't know, they were trying to fulfill this thing. They had 5 people. Like the last, I don't know. Did Skeletor sacrifice someone? That's not said, right?
Yeah, it wasn't clear whether it was a sacrifice or she was collateral damage.
I assume he was marked the same. Like I assume Skeletor also has a mark.
Hmm.
That's what I assume. I'm not sure.
That means
That's what
someone
I
else.
assumed.
The mark means that someone else sacrificed him, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I assumed it was the brain guy
Oh,
that
okay.
was the one that ascended.
Hmm.
And then as vengeance, he was trying to, take his
Yeah.
vengeance just like Guts, and he killed like 4 of them, but he wasn't able to kill Brain Guy.
And the brain guy then rebuilt the whole thing from
Yes.
Okay.
But again, I have no proof.
Yeah. I like that theory, though. I would like to see that backstory. The brief image that Griffith sees of the previous person who did empire building on the scale that he plans, was that a
Yes.
picture of Skeletor, or was it
Yes.
just? Oh, it was. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, so there must be something, I don't know, something similar that happened, right? Something parallel, but maybe it was slightly different
Hmm.
at that time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But who could it have been? Because we know that Skeletor's wife was the sister of the Elf Queen?
Oh.
Related somehow to the Elf Queen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What else do they say? They say, trying to remember.
I was trying to figure out the significance of the fact that she looked like the queen. I was like, why are they harping on about it? What's the is it by magic? Is she creepily making herself look like her somehow? But I didn't go to sister. That's the obvious explanation.
And I
That
think
makes
they
sense.
say it,
Okay.
right? They say something.
Okay. Yeah, I must have missed it because yeah, I was wondering why they went on about that, but
Okay. Yeah, after this, I think. Yeah. I'm trying to find it too. Let's see where it is.
yeah,
Yeah,
here.
so there's Apocalypse, which is the same, and these ones, 4 of them are different. Look pretty cool, I have to say. And then he sees the. Oh no, I'm already past. So it should be what chapter is this? 356?
I'm not sure. I think, but this panel is the one with the side by side of the two of Griffin in the Berserk armor and Skeletor. Because it looks very similar.
Yeah. I mean, he's sort of like the armor is making him relive what happened, right?
Mm.
Because that's the armor he was wearing when that happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, which is it after? Still trying to find where it is. The end was some fully sting. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, same as what happened to him. His Majesty's. Maybe the next page, maybe? She looks like her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. the Lady Maiden of the Cherry Blossoms. That's what they call her. Over the next page.
Well, she does.
Say
She does
that.
see here. Danan is the very image of that woman.
Yeah. No. For some reason I thought they say. Berserk connection. Yeah. Your mistress Flora was one of the sorcerers who served the Lady Maid. Okay, yeah. So Flora also was like a lady in waiting or something of the one that died. My friend Flora violated taboo and she was banished from a village. So probably something that happened during the eclipse. I guess it doesn't say that the mistress of the Cherry Blossoms is the queen's sister. Like maybe I made that up. It could be if I did up. But I mean, she's obviously an elf.
Yeah, I mean
Right.
that makes sense. It seems like a good explanation. I was just laughing about the fact that I didn't go there. There's so much magic. I've been reading too much fantasy, and I'm like, this person looks like the other person. Why ever would that be? And I didn't think of the most obvious explanation.
Yeah, and then we go to this very interesting part of the story, right? Which goes on for the rest of the chapter. It's definitely useful.
The kid thing. Are we on volume 41 yet? Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
I as long as I thought that it was just Guts and Casca's child, like the demon child that just looks different now for some reason. I think, oh, that's so cute how the kid is behaving. But now that it's kind of Griffith, everything's gotten creepy.
Very.
Like this panel was so cute when he climbs up using the cloak.
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I think it's like it's not always Griffith. I don't know. It
Yeah.
feels weird.
So the theory that I'm working with at the moment is that I don't know, they have some sort of split consciousness because it's not just the child, right? Like the child, maybe there's some remnants of him that surface every full moon and take over Griffith.
Yeah. Or maybe like Griffith and the child fuse together so they have both aspects inside.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe like Griffith didn't want to, but somehow he was also affected by the child, right? Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
Because also, wait a second. No, because there's also the child. He didn't fuse. I'm trying to remember. He didn't fuse him during the eclipse. He sort of fused with him or was used in the rebirth, right? At the Tower of Rebirth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he sort of incarnated in him, right?
Yeah, it went into the egg. Giant.
But like,
thing.
yeah, like he was already affected before. Like Griffith already affected the child before during the eclipse, but then he also again, I don't know, something happened. They fused, incarnated on him or whatever during the rebirth when he actually went into the physical world, right? So it's like a double. I don't know what happened when, as far as them transforming into one another, but.
This will end with them finding a way to magically make the child permanent and not let it turn back into Griffith. That's
Maybe. Yeah, it's true.
And she also mentioned,
or maybe that's how they defeat Griffith, by sealing him inside the child.
Oh. And then murdering the child?
Yes. Wow, that would be very...
That would get dark.
Dark.
The fact that he was able to reach this island, that's proof of no ill intent.
Yes.
It's not going to last.
So the world, okay, so then the world tree they can use it to get here, but the island won't really let them come because Jacob doesn't like it.
I don't know.
Oh. I don't know, those of you who've been reading all this time, how you've read this for so long with so many gaps in between, because it's already pissing me off, and it's been like 2 days.
Oh, is that how Griffith destroys the island? He destroys the island because Casca and Guts bring the Moonchild there, and that gets him in.
Yeah. Well, do they bring him in? They don't bring him. Do they bring him in?
They bring in the Moonchild. They say that's his. They just said because he has no ill intent.
Yeah.
They bring in the Moonchild.
No, I'm trying to remember. Do they, like, when they're walking through the Scarecrow path, when they're getting into the island, is the Moonchild with them? Or does he? Because sometimes he just disappears and then reappears. Did he just reappear inside?
Through their willingness to accept him?
Okay.
His affinity for the inhabitants, his connection to them, like that draws him through the world tree. But that's what gets him to them. Presumably, I don't know that he could have gotten there if Griffith presumably has ill intent towards the island. So they bring him there.
Oh yeah. Because Griffith wants to destroy all this magical stuff, just because that's the same reason why he attacked Laura.
Because they're drawing strength from the world tree, which means the world tree isn't as powerful as it should be. Right? They're parasitic of the world tree. So he's going to have to destroy the Elf Island, and he's going to be able to get there because Guts and Casca brought the Moonchild.
I thought he just wanted to get rid of everything magical and just have everything for humans or something.
I mean,
where he could rule, but I don't know.
He says it's about all the magical trees being parasitic.
Oh, that's he. Okay.
On the roots of the world tree. Someone says that.
Okay.
That was in one of the last couple volumes.
Was it? Okay, I don't know.
Yeah. Thank you, Varsha. Varsha's nodding. Someone else remembers. Yeah, this whole story about how the trees weaken the world. The world tree is the crack between worlds, and all these other magical trees, like what's her name's island, the sorceress. They are parasites. They weaken the world tree by sucking power out of its roots. That's why you can do magic around them because they bring out that magic. And
but they existed before, right? They existed before the world tree was a thing, right?
No, the world tree presumably was always there. It was just weak.
So how did the Emperor transform into the world tree?
I think he just made it much more apparent.
Okay.
The implication is that it was there before. The world tree was there before.
Oh, okay.
The trees were there before. That was in either 38 or 39. This discussion.
Is it? Because I thought before they just talked about like currents of magic or something. I don't remember if they talked about War Tree. Maybe they do. I just don't remember. I thought the War Tree was a new thing.
I don't think they talked about it, but they implied that it had been there before. Because they said that these other magical trees or parasites are drawing energy from the roots of the world tree, weakening it. Or that could be like just a story. It's not Griffith saying it. It's like Shirky or one of the elves or someone like that. It's one of the magic people. I should remember these things, but my brain is like a sieve. But it was in one of the last couple volumes that this discussion happened. And that gave us a sort of a picture of why Griffith is destroying he wants the world tree, which is the cracks. He wants it.
Okay, so the wiki page says the world tree is ground zero of the great roar of the astral world, which is, I think, when the whole explosion happened, which is explained to be the source of the global interstice unifying the physical world and astral world in the form of Fantasia. Okay. The Archmage describes the tree as a massive fissure piercing deep into the physical and astral realms. Okay. Prior to its arrival, the world tree's growth had been stymied by the spirit trees of the interstice, which absorb power from it and hinder the expansion of its branches into the physical world. Okay, with the burning of such spirit trees by Griffith's force, the world tree has grown rampant in a manner reminiscent of the chaos of ancient times. So I'm just confused because it says both of them. Because it says also the ground zero of the explosion.
But that's its location, not its origin.
Okay.
Right. It was at the ground zero where what's his name blew up. He
So where it blew up created a hole through which the Water Tree could go through, sort of. Okay. I'm just trying to understand how it
I often think he made up half of this as he went along.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't read like he had this all cosmology worked out beforehand. Which is not terrible. I mean, it's not like the worst thing, but it does often feel like it's like, oh yeah, but then that would make sense why they were killing the trees. Like, okay.
Okay.
Because
that happened.
Because I often do. It does seem like maybe he was just when he first went after what's her name and burned down the tree. It was like just another threat that he was eliminating. And they're adding this other dimension that it not only is it a threat to him, but he's doing it to strengthen this fissure so that he can recreate the times of chaos. And I'm like, hey, you might have thought of that in the 10 years between when you wrote one story and wrote the other story. That's a lot of time to come up with these little extra twists. That's what happens when you take 25 years to write a story. So
it's in 39.
Yeah, but they're definitely implying that the World Tree was not created for the first time by what's his name.
Yeah,
right. It's been there. Yeah. Maybe it's been.
It's sort of It manifested through the corpse of.
Yes,
I guess. Yeah. Okay.
That's my running hypothesis. That's what happened.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
On a very rare occasion, such as during a full moon, paths will connect the physical and astral worlds.
Oh yeah, it's a full moon when Griffith transformed.
Yep. So, I don't know. Should we sum up our feelings of the whole series now that we're done for the next however many months? Was this worth it to you guys? Seeing where we are now?
Yeah, I'd say it was. I enjoyed it. Felt like it was a. Is this common for manga to be drawn out this long? It seems like it's like we had some, like the pirate or the at sea thing was a few volumes. It seemed like it lasted a little long. Yeah.
But I mean, for long mangas, pretty much, But I mean, if you're reading mangas which are like 40 or 50 or 60 chapters, then no, usually they're.
But like, I don't know, does One Piece have a lot of like filler? Like, I feel like it goes from arc to arc, but the arcs they don't feel like filler. Naruto definitely did not have a lot of filler. The anime will have more. Because often if there's a popular manga and they animate it, they run out of material. And that's where you get the real filler, like, oh, we're all at the beach. But even manga will have we're all at the beach chapters, a chapter here and there. But usually
it would be chapters.
I think most shonen manga are paced a little more consistently than Berserk. The ones
I don't know. I mean, depends what you consider. Like, do you consider filler when an arc doesn't progress the story in a meaningful way? Because I can think of a lot of, like, technically they're progressing it, but they're not really needed.
Maybe you're right.
Like a lot of these battle mangas or like shonen, like there's a lot of arcs and he gets powerful more and more each arc, but they're not needed. Also, because a lot of times there's no character progression, or there's no really. But she's just getting more powerful, sort of. So I don't know. It depends how you define filler. I think.
I think most manga I've read have a more like consistent like tone and pacing. And then like this has like a lot of weird like the and this isn't a criticism like, but this is much less like of a formula. Right, like a lot of it's like, oh, the crew comes to a new place, and this is the new like adversary they have to face, and they have to find some local who has a tragic backstory, and that gives them a reason to fight the bad guy. They fight, they win, then they win, and then they move on to the next island. Right? That's like One Piece, and they're all good, but this is much less. I mean, there's this whole like the Golden Age arc does not feel like the stuff that comes before or after.
Yeah.
Like the tone really shifts over time. The pacing shifts over time. Like the pirate thing doesn't have similarity to other things that happen earlier or after. It's much more. It's much less. Or you read these 3 volumes and you get the feel for how the whole thing's going to go. You can't say that about any 3 volumes in Berserk.
Mm-hmm.
There's no 3 volumes you can point to where like, oh, you get Naruto. You can read like the Chunin exam arc. You get a pretty good idea for how the series is gonna go. Like the kind of characters you have, the themes, the they're all different, but you get a really good. But Berserk is much more. I hate to use the word diverse, but I think that's the word.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just because so much time passes, probably.
I think that's like that absolutely could be part of it. Like he just became a different guy, like the creator. When you spend 25 years on something, you're not the same person you were 25 years ago. You're drawing and writing differently. And
there's definitely certain arcs which you could remove completely from a story and you wouldn't be missing any crucial part of a story. I guess if you define filler that way, it's like, can I remove it and the story still makes sense and I'm not missing any important plot points? Then yeah, there's several arcs like that. And manga in general does have a decent amount of that. Yeah. Depends on what genre you're reading. But
that's really true.
And how
true. A lot of manga has a lot of that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of very specific examples where that doesn't have a ton, but you're right. A lot of it does.
Yeah. A lot of the time it's more like, I don't know, like you put a little bit of progression within a big arc, or that you can remove a lot of it. It's like very sitcom-like, right? If you think about the sitcoms, there's a little bit of progression every once in a while, a lot of the time, but most of the episode is not progression, right? And a lot of mangas can feel like that. Not all of them. Again, it depends.
Some very explicitly. What was it? Ranma 1/2? Didn't every like chapter start or every volume where like as if the previous one had not happened?
Maybe.
There was one very famous one where like every chapter they'd end up in like this terrible situation, and the next chapter it was as if it had never happened. There wasn't like it was like, oh no, we're not explaining how they got out of that. Like a cliffhanger, but it's not really because they're not at the cliff in the next one. And that's just how the whole thing was structured. You just got used to it. And I'm not sure it was Ranma 1/2. It was around that time.
I don't know if
it was around that. It was a long time ago. And it was just weird. You just had to just like, oh, that's just how this one is. That they get into this perilous situation and then they forget. Anyway.
Yes.
But there's a lot of...
But you can usually see by how many chapters there are.
But that's cool. Yeah. But that's part of what makes this so interesting is that it's not just the Golden Age arc done 3 times. Very similar tone and themes. Like it's really moves.
Yes. But if you removed the pirates, if you removed, I don't know, you can remove the Children of the Valley, the Elves of the Valley arc.
Yeah.
You could remove, probably you can remove a Troll arc too. Right? That's probably 100 chapters.
Isn't the Troll arc the one? Sorry.
I don't know if you can remove a Troll arc.
The Troll arc is the one where they get Shirka into the group, right?
Yeah.
That one's maybe necessary, but didn't need to be so long.
They might roll trolls back into it somehow, so maybe we'll think about it differently later if they bring the rapey trolls back.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think I take back what I said about it didn't needing to be so long, because we also learned about how Shirka uses her powers in that.
Yeah, no, you're right. That one is necessary. Yeah. You're right. Okay, instead, remove every single panel with Isidro.
Yes, please.
And we earn maybe about another 30 chapters, right?
Yeah.
But that comic relief interspersed in a storyline, that is very common.
So, is this is this just me not gelling with this humor style, or like I did not like Isidro. I didn't like when
Nobody
Eva
likes him.
Eva Leda, is that her name? Shirka's elf started behaving a bit like Isidro and like some weird hybrid of Isidro and Puck together
It's not a
in
strength of
these
this
two
manga.
volumes. Hmm?
It's not a strength of this. People don't say read Berserk because it's funny.
No,
Like
but
the style of the humorous bits is very similar to the way humorous bits are in other manga, but other artists I think do it better.
mm,
He's not great at it, so I don't think it's you.
Yeah.
But I don't.
It also makes more sense in the context of a different story, right?
yeah, yeah, in a different story and with characters who. Okay, so I don't like the turn the humor takes. It's always Isidro being angry at Shirka for being more successful than he wants to be, which is funny once, but as like if you want anyone, well, me, to like Isidro as a person or a character to have any investment, stop making him do that every two panels.
It's not good.
Uh,
It's not good.
yeah. So, so I mean, that was my main reason why I never cared for Isidro. Not just that he was like the reason he was annoying was because the way he was being annoying was by putting down Shirka every chance he got. Like that kind of thing maybe gets to me more than it does others. Maybe that's my thing, but I don't know. It's just um that bothered me a lot, and I didn't like that style of humor at all. What was my larger point with this? Yeah, so the comic relief wasn't relief. That's my larger point, that it bugged me more than it gave me a break from the story, if it makes sense. it, it, so yeah, I don't know, do you guys have like more access to more fandom opinions on this? Is this something that people have just learned to live with, or are there parts of the fandom that actually like this, and this is just some part of manga culture that I don't understand or appreciate?
I feel it's there because I don't know. Somehow, maybe the editor decided, or maybe Miura decided, it's like, oh, I want to capture some of the other audience. Maybe some
Mm,
of the shonen audience is like, or if I put it inside the volume, maybe those people will not skip it; they would just read those parts or something.
mm,
It feels it's like for a more younger audience to read, sort of.
mm. Because when Ivalera became funny in this volume too, she also turned into this, oh, you're not appreciating Shirka enough, you're dumb, you're silly. Like that's the only kind of humor, if I don't know that it even qualifies as humor. Like that's the only kind of joke that we get. So maybe it's just Miura's humor, sense of humor that I don't get.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't know if stories like this need a little bit of humor, even if it doesn't land. They need some levity because it is very
Mm,
heavy
mm,
throughout.
But I prefer the humor of like, I don't know, like the initial pack or the humor of I don't know, when they go in the troll cave, that there's that weird little thing with a huge nose sort of
Yeah,
thing, you know?
yeah.
It's like that is like, okay, yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I
That
like
makes it a bit more fun. But
I like the Puck from the first three volumes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought that
I
was
was a
a good
big fan of
dynamic.
that. No? Yeah.
And I think I said this the other week, Dan, you weren't on, but I wish that like you can see that they took Puck away and replaced him with Shirka. Like Shirka
yes,
became like Guts's primary like foil, and
yes.
I get why, but I also thought it worked better with Guts and Puck worked better,
Mm.
and you know that was a cute pairing. We only saw it for three volumes, really. A little more, because we saw it at
Yeah,
the when he fought the bug girl, the girl who
Mm,
was
yeah,
giant, you know. But then,
yeah. The moth girl.
yeah, but I never liked Puck with any paired with anyone else.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I just don't think it's Amira's strength, or or I don't know.
Hmm.
Thinking back on the characters, the only character that I see really has, I don't want to say had an arc, but the character that has changed the most, I think, is Fernes. I think that's the one character that had is a very different character from where she started. And I think she wasn't all that interesting at first, but I think as we got to know her and her history, and I think that she's one of the more interesting characters if you're looking at, just character development. I think she's the one that stands out.
True. One character I just noticed while you were talking completely disappeared pretty much is oh god, what's his name? Farnese's bodyguard.
Oh, Serpico?
Serpico, yeah. He's almost disappeared after we left the city pretty much.
Yeah.
He's fought a bit, but he's like very in the background. So there's also another character which is also not really.
That one scene where he was talking to Guts when they were all drinking and getting their man time. And he was like, at first I thought of murdering you many times because you were changing Lady Farnese, but then I decided it was really more her feelings for Casca. Like that was his own. It was almost like they didn't know what to do with him.
Yeah.
Anymore. Like, I mean, it would have been too crazy for him to be like, I hate Guts for changing Lady Farnese when she's so clearly better off than she was when she was so nuts. Yeah. They didn't have him do that, so then it's like there's no conflict between him and anyone else anymore. It's just like, here I am, no conflict here. It's like, okay, so there's nothing to do. I don't know.
See, those characters that kind of get lost in the shuffle, it would have been great to have them killed off on something like Casca's thing. Like that's a perfect time to kill these characters, like to
Isidro and Serpico,
like get rid of them.
Flames fighting like the sea god.
True. It would have been interesting to see them like drop off a bit by bit. Maybe covering a retreat while we run away from a city or something. I don't know.
They're running the trolls. Guts just picks up Isidro and flings him at the army of trolls. Slow them down, boy. They run off.
Well, Serpico could have done something.
It's not really a Guts move, but we would have enjoyed it.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Write a bunch of fan fiction where Isidro gets sacrificed in horrible ways.
Yeah.
It's probably out there.
It's just very bloated bit party at this point, and you can't give time to everyone while still keeping it interesting, right? Because there's also Roderick too, which was sort of introduced and then it's also sort of disappeared, I guess, in the last while. But I mean, what is he gonna do? Really? I mean, at some point he's gonna do something else, but for now he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They could cut a couple. Everything could be a bit more streamlined, but I don't know.
I think it was Stephen King. He said about a book, I don't remember which one, that he agonized over what to do. He had all these characters together in a room, and then he went for long walks, and he came back and decided that he's going to kill off half of them, and now he knows what to do.
Yeah. Or it's like when, I don't remember what it is, but they tell you, when you're a child in school, it's hard to write enough. You always write too little. And then when you go to university or something, it's like, the challenge is writing shorter to be more concise, right? That's way harder than writing a lot of stuff. And it feels to me a lot like that for works of fiction a lot of time. It goes to the head of a writer or something, and they start writing 10 times as much, and then it just gets very diluted and less. It loses some of the punch, I guess, a lot of the time. I feel.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with Song of Ice and Fire. That's what happened to me, at least. The first ones were very punchy, very slow stuff happening, and then it sort of got diluted a bit as he started expanding. And, I don't know. It feels like people want that. They ask, like, I want more of that. But maybe it's a case of people not knowing what they want. You know?
You don't know what's good for you.
So I don't know. Or maybe just my preference. I just like shorter works, more concise. Maybe that's just my preference.
Maybe. I guess it goes both ways. It depends on what the work is trying to do and where it's going and so on. Like, could you have gotten there a shorter way by making the same impact on whatever levels you were trying to cause impact on, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Going back to your question you posed 10 minutes ago, Varsha. For me, the best part is the Golden Age, and it feels different than the rest. I like some of the arcs also after that, but for me, that's the best part. And I just hope the conclusion sort of ties it up together and makes the rest of the arcs feel more impactful. But all the time, if I'm going to reread a little bit of it, I'm just going to reread that part, I feel.
I'd like to hear more about that. Can you tell me more about why the Golden Age is your favorite? Because that seems to be kind of the fandom consensus, right? And
I think the highest rated one is the Tower of Rebirth arc, I think.
That's the one that ends with the Behelit egg Griffith thing. Is that?
I thought that was the most. I don't know if it's the highest one. It might be. I read something about most people voting that one as the best, but I don't remember where. But I think that's one of the good ones for sure, right? That's one of the strong ones, and it's also more polished art style. Before, still very dark though. And the feeling is still very similar to the Golden Age arc, right?
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, it's just they all have slightly different feelings, right? I like the art style of the beginning, and I like the whole concept of the whole sacrifice whole thing, and everything being normal with just a little bit of weird magical stuff happening makes it even more weird.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like I went into the Golden Age. I didn't look at wider community feelings or anything, but some of the YouTube videos that keep showing up in my feed, which I never watched because I hadn't read the show, but read the book, but they all go on the thumbnail implies that the maker of the video really extremely enjoyed the Golden Age arc. So I went in with some expecting it to blow my mind or something. Like, maybe I think when that happens, I feel like I expect the story to be clever in some way, but it was just a story. Like, it was just a sort of almost slice of life thing in Guts is like not, or just like a coming of age thing, perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe better.
Yeah. Or like not slice. Yeah, that's completely the wrong way to put it. But just like a segment of his life. This is where he started. This is how he got here. Cool. A backstory. So I guess maybe when people talk about how much something blows their mind, I expect it to be clever or something. So like there wasn't anything more interesting than just that he joined a band. And like if you think about how the volume started, like if you think about how the story started, he is in a traumatized place. He met Griffith and he's angry about it somehow. So you expect whatever beats of the story you expect, that's pretty much what happens, right? Nothing different or interesting. Well, how it happens is interesting, but the beats would be the same, right? That he joined up and then they became friends and then they became enemies somehow. But
no, because the friendship was developed so thoroughly, and the relationship was so both complex and deep, and then the one who ended up betraying him was the friend. Because what you expect is that someone kills Griffith and he's out for revenge. You read the Golden Age arc, and that's what every sign points to. He's angry because someone destroyed his friend, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's his friend destroyed him and everything they had. for his own
But-
selfish purposes.
Didn't we know that going in though? Because the dude he meets at the God Hand was Griffith. Like that's pretty clear from immediately when they start the story. So when you meet Griffith, you know that this friendship isn't going to end well.
True.
But maybe that's it then. But that it still makes it clever, or at least that makes it not traditional.
Yeah. Not traditional. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I'm also misusing the word clever. Like,
A
I mean,
twist, right?
yeah.
It's not like every other story. You haven't seen this one before. I think that's what makes it what you haven't seen before. Is that angle?
But I think one of the main reasons is you need to realize the historical context of when it came out and the type of people. Like, we've read it a long time ago, right? Like, it was one of the first mangas I've read. It is also one of the first mangas a lot of people read in the genre because it's so famous. But when it came out in the early 90s, there was not, like, we live now in a post-grimdark fantasy world. In the 90s, that was not the case. We were just finishing the Lord of the Ring clone sort of phase, right? Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire was just coming out. I guess the Black Company had come out, but like 5 years before. I guess Elric of Melimbone, I don't remember when, but it's also, I feel like it's also 80s, middle 80s, maybe early 80s. But anyways, it's not
earlier.
Grimdark is not a thing yet. Sort of. It is. There's the beginnings. It's not defined as it is now, and most things are not as dark as this. Most things are a lot lighter, and if there is some darkness, it's like interspersed.
I think you're right and you're wrong, because there was plenty of very dark stuff that predated this by a long time.
But it's all famous.
Popular. It was like through the 90s that stuff had taken a back shelf.
Yeah,
when you go to like the Conan era stories, like Carl Edward Wagner, you go to like a lot of Moorcock, a lot of that stuff is very dark, but it wasn't the predominant fantasy of the 90s when Berserk hit the scene in this country. The predominant stuff here was like Wheel of Time, Shannara, Terry Goodkin. It was much more in the Tolkien vein,
and especially mangas were not like that.
Yeah, mangas were much more. The ones we had, at least, were much really just shonen stuff.
Yeah,
right. Like the plucky young boy is whatever. Well, there was some dark stuff, but it was like hyper violent. Not very. It wasn't emotional. Like Fist of the North Star isn't like a gut punch. It's very dark. Everyone dies, but it's so cartoony that it doesn't have that kind of impact. Like a lot of the dark stuff is very like over the top, cartoony, and almost silly. Like fun silly, but like I think my Fist of the North Star is my go-to example.
Yeah, goofy. I don't know. And a lot of these grimdark books that I also read with they were, like you said, not as popular at the time. They were sort of became more popular later on when grimdark became more popular and they became like cult or whatever, right? Yeah. So I feel like it's also one of the reasons. It's not, like you said, it was not as popular, but it also introduced it to a lot of people. And especially in Japan, like Western fantasy was not really a thing that much. It was a little bit, but it wasn't as much, obviously, as in the West. And this, I'm sure, was like the first reading of Western-inspired fantasy by a lot of people in Japan.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I thought a lot of manga did that. Vinland Saga and Vagabond is not, right?
No, but it was very Japanese.
Okay.
Vinland Saga comes after, is pretty new.
Okay.
Vagabond is based on Musashi.
Yes.
Vinland Saga is later, though. Like, it's popular now, but it's not old like Berserk. Like, it's not from the
Okay. So
there's a lot of manga and anime were based. This is like the medieval stuff based on medieval Western.
Yes, medieval Western.
I see.
It was unusual. There's a lot of manga based on like contemporary Western, like a boy in London doing whatever, that a white kid, right? That's been around. but the armor and stuff all based on like loosely based on medieval Europe was not as common. Like, much more common would have been something based on like samurai, like Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah.
Based on samurai, ninjas, that kind of crap was.
Do you know, Joe, any information on how how was the trajectory of Berserk becoming popular different in Japan compared to America? Because I don't know if it's the same. Like, did it become popular in America just because it was very popular in Japan and then wrote a translation or people told about it? Or was it separate? I have no idea.
I have no idea. Part of the problem was like this was an era where, unlike today, you didn't get the behind the scenes information about this. There was no internet. Like when I bought Berserk, right? We got we went to a convention and they showed a couple episodes of the anime, and then we bought the DVDs. There was no there were forums that probably existed. I wasn't really on them, but
But I guess it must have been popular in Japan for them. If it's popular enough, they make anime and they make translations because they see it's popular, and that gives more opportunity, right?
It must have been popular, but it's a combination of that popularity and someone thinking, "Oh, this will go over well here," because there are some very popular things in Japan that they never translated because they wouldn't go over here.
Oh, true.
Girl stuff, right? So it's that combo, and they were right? This is the kind of thing that would be popular here, clearly, right? But yeah, no, it must have been popular in Japan. I don't know if it was like a breakaway hit in Japan, or I have no idea. Or if it was just like pretty popular. Oh, I think Americans will like this, which would have been a reasonable thing to say. But I have no idea. Like, I had no way to know what was popular in Japan.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, yeah. All right, I gotta go.
We can wrap up real quick.
Yeah.
It was a fun journey, though. So yeah, until volume 42 is translated, Joe, will you tell us about where people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me at jcmburn.com. My Patreon's at jcmburn. My YouTube channel is at jcmburn and all that stuff. Buy my books so that I can afford the cover for the next volume. Book 5, Eyes of Empire, is back from beta readers. I'm going to be editing. And I found my cover artist probably won't be ready until like July. That's probably when it's coming out because he's slow. So I need a new cover artist. That's another story. But exciting times. And Grim Dwarf, issue 13 came out today. And thank you, Steve, for having me on here. This was a blast. I enjoyed rereading this.
Yeah, of course.
I would not have done it without motivation.
We'll be doing lots more here soon. So, Dan?
I'm Dan. You can find me on the Patreon forum at DeanFire17 if you want to argue about my bad taste in manga, even though yours are probably worse. But
And Varsha.
Yeah, you can find me on the YouTube channel Reading by the Rainy Mountain, on the sci-fi podcast Speculative Speculations, and hanging out on Picturing all the time.
Yes. Yeah, find us there. And until 42 is translated, we'll see everyone, or we'll talk to everyone soon.